Hello everyone, I am Desianti English Education B 2018. I am a student of University of West Sulawesi. I am 5th semester and I'm going to share about English for specific purposes. And my lecture in this course is Adi Isma SPD MPD. Well, what is English for specific purposes? English for specific purposes, or ESP in short, is a term that refers to studying or teaching English for particular career or for business in general. English for specific purposes, not to be confused with a specialist language, but ESP is a spare of teaching English language, including scientific English, English for tourism, English for uh, waiters, English for medicine professionals, and etc. There are three the origins of ESP. The first is the brave of the demand of a brave new world. In the end of Second World War in 1945, expanded the world that was dominated by two forces, technology and commerce. The went out went out without stopping and generate a demand of international language. That's why uh, that's why create a new whole mass of people who want to learning English. The second is a revolution of linguistic. Actually, the aims of linguistic is to describe the rules of language usage, that is grammar. But however, a new studies shifted attention away for defining the formal features language usage to determining um, to determining uh, language usage, the actually language used in real communication. So rise a few the actually there are important difference between English commerce and English engineering. The next is focus on the learner. Uh, learner in studying ESP have different needs and interests that can have important influence on their motivation and also on their learning. The next is the development of ESP. There are four the development of ESP. The first is the concept of a specific language or register analysis. The aims of register analysis is to identify grammatical and lexical feature of this analysis. The important thing in this register analysis is students have to understand grammar the first, because text ESP use a high level context grammar. The second is beyond a sentence or uh, rhetorical or discourse analysis. After understanding grammar, and then students have to understanding the meaning of a sentence in text ESP. Text, text ESP have a level difficulty to understanding, because text ESP use ha, because text ESP use a registered discourse. They also use specific language, where the specific language require more understandings. The third is target situation. A student in learning ESP be able to have goals, because the aims of ESP lesson is to enable students to function adequately for target situation, namely situation where the student will use the language that they have learned. The next is skill and strategies. Uh, in learning ESP, a student students have to have skill and strategies, because for stage in ESP represent an attempt to explore and underline the ESP not only focus on language itself, but also ESP focus on a thought process, the underlying language use, the underlying language use. The next is a learning center approach. A learning center approach. There are three strengths. There are three strengths. The underline, the underline, the underline, the origin of ESP. The first is needs. The second is new ideas of language, and the last is new ideas of learning. Language learning in ESP, not just focus on reading, not just focus on reading books, but also focus on process learning. The next of ESP is ESP approach, a product. ESP is not ESP is not specific type of language or methodology, but ESP is uh, ESP is language teaching approach where where all concept and where all concept and where all context and models are based on where our context and models based on reason of student for learning. The next is course design. A course design is planning or structuring of a course to achieve needed goals. In ESP, there are three. There are four. There are four. There are there are four. Uh, there are four course design. The first is language descriptions. There are some outlines. The underline. There are four. There are some outlines. There are some outlines of various language ideas that have influenced in ESP, such as classical or traditional grammar, uh, structural linguistic, transformation, transformational grammatical, transformational generative or TG grammar, uh, language variation of language variation or register analysis, function and national grammar, and the last is rhetorical or discourse analysis. The following of language learning, the following of theories on language learning, such as behaviorism or learning as a habit formation, uh, mentalism or thinking as rule governed activities, cognitive code or learner as a thinking being, the effectiveness factor or learner as emotional beings. And the next is language acquisition, and the last is a model for learning. The next design in ESP is need analysis, and also approach to course design. There are three approach in course design in ESP. The first is language centered course design. The second is skill centered course design, and the last is learning centered approach. I think enough from me. Thank you and good afternoon.